What's going on, everybody? How you doing? We are starting Queen Sheer Heart Attack, their third album. I heard all of you, you all said you need to check out Live at Rainbow. Live London Rainbow. That concert happened after Sheer Heart Attack came out. Just to let you know. We're doing Sheer Heart Attack first. Okay, so, because I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, there's a bunch of songs here that are not on the first two albums. They're on Sheer Heart Attack. I can't do this yet. That's not right. I can't do that. That's not right. I'm not doing that. Okay, so we're starting Sheer Heart Attack. Also, hopefully, the audio is different and hopefully better because I got a whole new recording rig. Oh my God, that's incredible. I do have my old audio just back, like as a backup, just in case this doesn't work out, but I think it will. It's an experiment. And if this microphone doesn't work or this mic placement doesn't work, I'll just change it on the next album or whatever, you know, that's what it is. But trying to improve things. So obviously the new recording setup is going to be great for recording, stuff like that, but also the audio for the videos. Great, right? Totally great. So, Sheer Heart Attack. You know, this is the first video of the album, which means I go through a bunch of information, so I'll put a tag in the first line of the description for anybody that wants to jump straight to the song. So here we go. Sheer Heart Attack. Third studio album by Queen, released November 8th, 1974. Oh, that's a great year. Wow, coming up on 50 years. I mean, that'll be next year. It's 49 years now, right? Is my math right? Is that right? Digressing from I only say that for those that don't know because my Fender Jazz Bass is a 1974, and I always joke around, oh, that's a great year, right? Those who've been around the channel, they know that I do that. Anyways, digressing from the progressive themes featured on their first two albums, the album featured more pop-centric and conventional rock tracks and marked a step towards the classic Queen sound. Okay, all right. It was produced by the band and Roy Thomas Baker and launched Queen to mainstream popularity in the UK and throughout the world. The album's first single, Killer Queen, reached number 2 in the British charts and provided the band with their first top 20 hit in the US, peaking at number 12. Sheer Heart Attack was the first Queen album to hit the US top 20, peaking at number 12 in 1975. It has been acknowledged for containing a wealth of outstanding hard rock guitar tracks. Retrospectively, it has been listed by multiple publications as one of the band's best works and has been deemed an essential glam rock album. Okay, all right. After completing their second album, Queen embarked on their Queen 2 tour as a support act for Mott the Hoople. After touring extensively throughout the UK, the two groups decided to tour together in the US, marking Queen's first tour in the country. The bands would remain on friendly terms for the rest of their career, with Ian Hunter performing All the Young Dudes at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. Queen played their first US show on April 16, 1974 in Denver, Colorado as a support, which Freddie Mercury reportedly disliked, saying, "Being support is one of the most traumatic experiences of my life." Oh my God, really, dude? Wow. When did he say that? At the climax of the tour in Boston, Brian May was discovered to have hepatitis, possibly from the use of a contaminated needle during vaccinations the group received before traveling to Australia. What the? That's nuts. I vaguely remember reading this somewhere else, actually. The remainder of the tour was subsequently canceled and Queen flew back home, where May was hospitalized. In June, the band gathered together at Trident Studios to start rehearsing material for the album. Hasib interviewed Mercury, Taylor, and Deacon when they were rehearsing on June 13th. At the beginning of July, May joined them for rehearsals. The band were just prepping to record, and on July 7th, they trekked 3.5 hours to get to the Rockfield Studios in Wales, where they would record 10 backing tracks, finishing July 28th. At the start of August, work shifted to Wessex Sound Studios. Work there would not last long, however, as May, who was starting to feel uneasy, went to a specialist clinic on August the 2nd. He collapsed at the clinic as a result of a duodenal ulcer and would be operated on the following day, but discharged from the hospital soon after so he could recover at home. While the band were overdubbing at Wessex, May booked studio time at Air Studios, where he recorded Dear Friends and She Makes Me. In the meantime, Taylor and Deacon made an appearance at an EMI Radio Luxembourg Motor Rally at Brands Hatch on August. Man, it's wild how they just go through like nearly it. I mean, it's not literally their day to day, but it kind of feels like it. And I'm just like, okay, what did they have for breakfast? You're leaving that out. You know, I'm just like, guys. I mean, maybe some people are into that much detail, that kind of detail. I don't know. Some of it, I'm like, you know, okay, you can leave some of this out. Anyways, by late August, May was working with the band again, and the rest of the band would add their parts to the songs he had recorded. There was still one song that needed to be recorded as the band worked into September, and that was Now I'm Here. They recorded the backing track for this one at Wessex and saved the rest to be completed during the mixing sessions. Mixing commenced in the middle of September. The band were still overdubbing at this point, so they hired someone to deliver tapes from recording studio to mixing studio via motorcycle. The heart of the mixing sessions took place at Trident Studios, and 1 or 2 days was spent mixing each of the majority of the songs. Brighton Rock, on the other hand, took 4 days to mix, with 6 hours worth of different mixes created during that time. Each song was mixed in little edited sections that were about 15 to 20 seconds in length. That's what I'm talking about. Listening to the last album, that it sounds like it's because there's so much going on. It sounds like a lot of work. And the fact that they're breaking it up like that means that it's a lot of work, but it also means that if they're breaking it into 15 and 20 second kind of bursts, hopefully, well, you would assume that that's going to cause them to really focus on those 15, 20 seconds and make them magical, which would then, as a whole, make the whole thing pretty magical, right? That's kind of the idea of that, as opposed to like seeing the whole entire thing and just kind of working, you know, instead of like making small moments kind of on the regular every 15, 20 seconds. That's a good thing, I think. At this point, Trident had just installed a 24-track machine in their studio that had been around since 1977 but was not functioning until 1974. In fact, the album was Trident's first 24-track project. Okay. Even though Trident had expanded their recording flexibility by 8 tracks, it still wasn't enough to mix each track individually. Bring back that Leroy Brown, for example, had 70 vocal tracks and had to be mixed down to work with the 24-track mixer. See, that's what I'm saying, and that's back then. I told you that whole, you know, like doing like any of the Earth, Wind, Fire stuff, it's like nightmares, and that's now, okay? Then it was 70 tracks. Now it's like, yo, what? This is insane. Yeah, mixing down, you get all your freaking buses, just any way to group them and lump them into chunks that's more manageable, you know? Anyways. On September 20th, it was announced the band were attempting to secure a release date for the album November 1st, though it seemed unlikely they would be done in time to meet that deadline. They mixed Now I'm Here, which was the last thing to be mixed on October 22nd. Oh, wow. May did an interview the next day, which was published October 26th, that explained what finishing the album was like. In total, the band used 4 different studios in the making of Sheer Heart Attack. Most of the backing tracks were recorded at Rockfield. 2 backing tracks and some guitar overdubs were recorded at Air Studios. Most of the overdubs and 1 backing track were recorded at Wessex, and the mixing was done at Trident. Okay, cool. Got that out of the way. Alright, now the songs. The album noticeably shifts away from the progressive rock themes of its predecessors and has been categorized as hard rock and glam rock. The Daily Vault described it as an important transition album because it showcased what the band would soon become while giving a nod to their hard rock past, while Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic observed that although there are still references to the fantasy themes of their earlier works, particularly on In the Lap of the Gods and Lily of the Valley, the fantasy does not overwhelm as it did on the first 2 records. Killer Queen was written in a single night, which contrasts with the, as Mercury put it, ages it took to write The March of the Black Queen. Brighton Rock was written during the making of Queen 2. Stone Cold Crazy had its genesis in Mercury's pre-Queen band Wreckage, and Mercury wrote Flick of the Wrist during May's illness-induced absence. As it included the first song written by John Deacon that Queen recorded, Misfire, alongside tracks written by the other members of the band. Sheer Heart Attack was the first of the group's albums to contain at least one song written by each member. Stone Cold Crazy was the band's first song for which all 4 members shared the writing credit. Okay, cool. Freddie Mercury said, "The album is very varied. We took it to extreme, I suppose, but we are very interested in studio techniques and wanted to use what was available. We learned a lot about technique while we were making the first 2 albums. Of course, there has been some criticism, and the constructive criticism has been very good for us. But to be frank, I'm not that keen on the British music press, and they've been pretty unfair to us. I feel that up-and-coming journalists, by the large, put themselves above the artists. They've certainly been under a misconception about us. We've been called a supermarket hype." Oh, wow. "But if you see us up on stage, that's what we're all about. We are basically a rock band." Okay, cool. So, all right, first song is Brighton Rock. And, you know, just like the previous album, every song has a little blurb about it, so I'm just going to do this one right now. Brighton Rock was written by Brian May during the Queen 2 sessions, but was not recorded at that time as the group felt it would not fit the rest of the album. Lyrically, it tells the story of 2 young lovers named Jenny and Jimmy who met in Brighton on a public holiday. Mods traveling to Brighton. Mods traveling? I don't know what you're talking about. Mods traveling to Brighton on bank holidays were a popular narrative at the time, as in The Who's Quadrophenia. The song includes a 3-minute unaccompanied guitar solo interlude, which makes extensive use of delay to build up guitar harmony and contrapuntal melodic lines. Cool. It grew out of May's experimentation with an Echoplex unit while he attempted to recreate his guitar orchestrations for live performances of Son and Daughter. He had made modifications to the original unit so he could change the delay times and ran each echo through a separate amplifier to avoid interference. Very cool. Studio version of the solo only contains 1 main guitar and 1 echoed guitar for a short section, but live, May would usually split his guitar signal into 1 main and 2 echoed guitars, with each going to a separate bank of amplifiers. In concert, the solo has been performed as part of Brighton Rock in a medley with another song or as a standalone piece. For example, May performed some of it at the closing ceremony of the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. Considered one of May's finest solos, Guitar World ranked it number 41 on their list of the 100 greatest guitar solos of all time. Okay, all right. Brighton Rock. We're starting with Brighton Rock. And this is from remastered album from 2011. All right, Brighton Rock. Let's get to it. Bam. Guitars creeping in here.
Happy little day, Jimmy went away. Daddy's little Jimmy on a public holiday. Happy baby May, so decorously laid. If the gay illuminations are along the holiday. So there's still a little magic in the air.
Feels shinier. Album feels shinier.
Jenny, will you stay? Daddy, to be brave. Nothing any come between us. Tell me, love, what do you say? Oh no, I must away to my mom in disarray. If my mother should discover how I spent my holiday, it would be a small way to tell the magic in the air. I'll say farewell. Oh, rock of ages, do not crumble. Love is breathing still. Our Lady Moon, shine down. A little people magic, if you will.
guitar's here, and there's like an echo over here. It's been like that pretty much the whole time. That's been the sound, right? It's not that much delay, really. That was nothing. I see. So the main guitar's over here now. The delay's here, and it's a longer delay. Tone is really good. Okay, cool. So this is like Jenny, Jimmy kind of thing that he's doing. Wow. Very cool. Wow, that was interesting. Yeah, I feel like I really didn't catch vocal stuff because it was like kind of high, like in terms of lyrics and all that. And then as it went on, I was like, oh, I think that he's just doing like kind of character stuff because he's got like a higher pitch and then he's going back and forth and there's like the left and right. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's the whole Jenny Jimmy thing, right? Where he's like role playing basically, which is cool. That's cool. But really, this is really all about Brian May. Mostly, that's what it seems like. This is all about Brian May and his whole guitar thing. And this is definitely a good vehicle for soloing live. You know, a good thing to do because it's just like, okay, here you go. Here's your spot to solo. You know, to do your thing. That's probably pretty cool. Yeah, that's a cool song. I dig it. It's, you know, still just like getting into this album. It sounds cleaner, like kind of shinier, like I was saying. Kind of sounds shinier. Kind of like their faces on the album cover. Which I like this album cover too. It's very cool. And it still kind of goes with that whole, you know, the previous one was their faces or whatever. This one is like a different play on that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, like it. I like the song. It's definitely cool. All right, we got the hit next. Killer Queen. And yes, I know the song. And I also know, I'm pretty sure I know Now I'm Here. And I don't think I know any of the others. But I didn't think I knew anything of the last album either. And I was wrong about that. Was wrong, which is why that's still wild to me. Anyways, but I know Killer Queen. So that's up next. I'll catch you then.